Microphone check. Microphone check. 1 2. What's up, man? I got Julio Rangel in the house. Julio, what's up, baby?
What's up, man? How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, so the proper pronunciation is Rangel.
See, yes.
There you go, baby. There you go. Hey, don't sleep. Hey, don't sleep on the Spanish now, baby. Julio Rangel, our big league pitching coach, man. Welcome to the Lions, Den, man. Welcome, brother.
Thank you.
It's good
Thanks
to
for
have
having
you.
me here.
It's good to have you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to learn something. I'm about to learn something today,
No,
man.
I'm gonna learn something.
No, well, so hey, before we begin, man, man, just give everybody a little background. You know what I'm saying? Hometown, family life. You know what I'm saying? Where you are now. You know what I'm saying?
Hometown. Well, I was born in Panama.
Yeah.
Panama City, Panama. Played baseball there since I was probably 5 years old. Little league and stuff like that. Had the opportunity to go and play in the Little League World Series in 1988. I know it's a long time ago.
Wow, man.
So I had the opportunity to go there. Then after that, I just kept playing. Played for the national team for like 6 years in different categories in Panama.
Yeah.
And then I was a shortstop. I was not a pitcher, even though
Wow.
I signed as a pitcher. And converting to a pitcher right before I signed to play. And I think that was probably the best decision that the scouts could have done because I couldn't hit.
So you're saying you were an athlete. You were an athletic guy.
A little bit. A little bit.
Don't be afraid to tell them the truth, baby. Let's go.
So that was kind of like the baseball background right there. And then I came and signed with the Yankees as a pitcher. Spent about 7 years in the minor leagues with them. Then played a little bit of winter ball back home in Panama and also in like Venezuela. Then after that, I just got into coaching with the Yankees in high A. Got out of baseball, as you probably know, got out of baseball a little bit. I went into banking, went to school for a few years, and back in '07, I went back to with the Indians. I got an opportunity to go back in baseball, and I took the opportunity. And after that, spent 11 years there. Then one with the Giants last year, and now I'm here with Texas Rangers. When it comes to family background, mom and dad and my sister that still live in Panama. My
What
wife,
city? What city?
In Panama City.
Panama
City. Yeah. My mom, she's a teacher. She teaches math. And then my dad, he's a professor at a university, and he teaches I think it's marketing, communications, that type of stuff. And he's been doing that for a while now. What else I can tell you about family? I'm married. I live in Clearwater, Florida. I have a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. Two of them. She's 15, and then my boy. You see him around here a few times during the year. He's about to turn 13 pretty soon.
13, looking like he's 18.
Yeah, he's a big boy. And but yeah, it's hard. A lot of people say, "Are you sure he's at 12?" Yeah, he's 12.
Oh,
big
man.
kid, man.
That's good. Hey, so how was it, man? I mean, both mother and father are educators.
Yeah.
They're teachers.
Yeah.
High level. How was that, man? How was that growing up?
Growing up, I mean, it was funny because my mom was my teacher 1 year.
Oh, dang.
So I went to a private school at home, and it's not like we're like back home we're rich or anything like that. It was I have the opportunity because my mom worked in that school for so many years that I had a scholarship to go there, and I played different sports there, soccer and basketball for the high school. But 1 year I think it was because it's back home. It's not like here in the States where you have like elementary school, middle school. And basically, you go to like 3 different schools by the time you reach those grades. Back home in that school, we were all in the same school.
Okay.
So it was a big school, but it was like elementary all the way up through high school. And I was in I guess 5th grade, which is a middle school. No, elementary.
Elementary here.
Elementary.
Yeah.
That's when my mom was a math teacher for me.
So you weren't screwing around in that class.
No, she was really tough on me. She was really tough because it was how the kids they look at us, that's your mom, and it was never like that. Like I have to work for everything, and but yeah, I mean being around my dad actually he's been doing that for a while now. He became a professor actually. He was like really late in in his career, but he was actually he worked in how do you say that? It's like sales for many years. He had like like good position himself, different company. He was like a like GM and some companies, private companies at home, and then he got to the point where because he didn't learn English. It was getting tougher and tougher because now there, a lot of those companies were doing a lot of business like
in
overseas
English,
in English, and my dad had a tough time with that. So the job started like becoming like really hard for him to get once he left a few companies and he had to basically go to a different route.
Yeah.
And that's when he became like, he was a friend of his. He says, "Hey, do you want to teach?" I said, "You're always like speaking in front of people. Like you be good at it." And he didn't have a job at that time. So he was like, "Okay, I'll try." And he went into a private university and he liked it. And he kept going. Then he started like, it's okay, how can I get better and get better jobs and, working as a professor. And so first thing that he basically had to go back to school again and get another degree to be able to teach at a higher education like that.
Yeah.
And he did.
That's
he
great,
did. That was crazy. I remember when he was going through all that and I was like, he was barely sleeping because he was trying to get like, I think one semester he got like 6 classes and he was still working.
Wow.
And I'm like, "Dad, you're crazy." He was all stressed out.
How old were you at the time? How old were you when he was going back to school?
That's not too long ago. I would say probably I was maybe in the mid-20s to early 30s when he was going through all that.
Wow.
So I saw it. I was playing still, and I saw it. And my mom whenever I was not home, my mom would tell me, "Hey, your dad's stressed," because I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing? Why so many classes in one semester?"
Yeah.
But he wanted to finish because it was like, I gotta make sure that I finish before this date because I gotta they have to apply every year for like a full-time position at the main university at home.
Wow.
And anyway, so after he went through all that, he got it, and he's been doing that, and he's retired, but he's still teaching.
That's awesome. It's always interesting talking to individuals who their parents, at least one, sometimes both in your case, who their parents are educators, because I feel like as children you have a different lens. You look at things differently. You're more inquisitive. You're able to parse through different information differently than your peers. So I found that interesting, man. So in terms of you as a coach, as a teacher, because that's what you are, right? And I think Bill Walsh said the highest compliment that anybody can give you, an individual, is to be called a teacher. What makes you, Julio, different than all the other 29 pitching coaches? What makes you different, man?
I guess for me it's a little bit hard to say because I don't know how all the other 29 how they teach, or you always kind of like think about like which is a lot to say to like old school coaches because of different mentality, how they went through stuff, and obviously back then in those days they didn't have the amount of information and the amount of things that are happening nowadays with all that. For me, I guess the difference is like I'm a person that, from a coach, and I care a lot. That's always been my thing. I care a lot. I always want to help, and I'm the type of guy that no matter how hard things are going with a pitcher or somebody around me, I'm always thinking about, hey, how can I help him to be better? Like what else I can do? What else is within my power to help them? And I guess I'm relentless, and probably some of the pitchers might be able to tell you that I don't back down from any of those challenges. I might give you a break a week here and there just to not to like bring a lot of information to you, but at some point I'm gonna hit you up again until I see that you're overcoming whatever's happening. I just feel like as long as you're here with me, I'm gonna try to do everything I can until the last day to help you become the pitcher that he can be, and the best person that he can be as well. It's like I said, it's not only on the field but it's off the field. But I guess for me it's just like I just care a lot about them.
That's really good. I think a lot of people say they care. Why for you, right? I don't want to be like facetious or just a pain, but like why? Where does that come from? Why do you care so much? Where does that come from internally within you?
I think probably it's like maybe something like just my family. I say like how we are. I mean, we're back home, especially on my mom's side. All my uncles, my grandma, and all that. It's like we were really close, and I mean we still are. Obviously, I'm not in Panama anymore, so I'm on the States, so I don't see them as often. But it was just like that. everybody in my family is kind of like the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we care. We're always helping each other. It's always like if one of them is having issues somewhere, you'll see one of my aunts or my uncles there. Like there's always somebody there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like I grew up seeing that. And I guess just like it's just part of me. I mean, seeing my mom also like caring about like the kids in school and how she was with them.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, she's also a psychologist.
Very nice.
So she did a lot of sports psychologies
Mm-hmm.
when I was basically done playing in Panama. I was
Mhm.
over in the States, and he started doing a lot of like baseball stuff over there. But it's like that I guess that's like the teacher in me. Like
Mhm.
how teachers, you care a lot about your
Mhm.
students, and the same thing with my dad. My dad has always been there for me, and he's always been there like for many people around him as well. I guess it's just how we are.
Yeah.
My family, and I kind of, and the other way I see it is like, I always, when I play, I always, like any player, you always want to get to the big leagues. You always want to, that's your goal. I didn't have that opportunity to get there. I gave my best when I was playing. I didn't have the probably the skills or what I needed to get there as a player. And I always remember this, like when I was done playing and I started coaching, I said like, so if I couldn't make it as a pitcher, I'm gonna help every young individual that wants to get there,
Mm-hmm.
get to their dream and help them just be part of it.
Mhm.
And that's been probably my driving force, I guess. It's just seeing all these guys get to the big leagues, and then now I'm here in the big leagues,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to help these guys just have the best years they can have
Yeah.
every single year. And I think that's what drives me. I just it's fun for me to see guys succeed.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm gonna shift gears on you here for a little bit, and this is an either or. You gotta choose, but I'm gonna allow you. I'm gonna allow you to explain yourself. So, what's more important, man? A player who is talented, or a player who has intelligence? Would you rather have a team of talented individuals or a team of intelligent individuals? And I'm
Do
gonna
I
let
really
you,
have to pick
yeah,
one?
heck yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. And then you can explain yourself.
It's a tough one because you want a little bit of both. But I will say probably I will go with an intelligent. And the reason why I say that, I just feels like guys that are smart, that have an idea, they know how to process information. I think you can get more out of them at some point, even when they hit a wall, like when you feel like they're at their peak. Those guys like that, especially if they're humble, they'll be able to overcome a lot of stuff that maybe a talented player can do it just because they're pure talent. But I've seen over the years, and not everybody, because there's a lot of talented kids that are very smart as well. But I've seen a lot of talented players that you see them in the big leagues for 1 year, 2 years, and then suddenly they disappear. It's a lot of times they just don't have the mindset, or they don't have what it takes to kind of like the grind that you have to get through when you're playing in this game, especially at this level where everything, when you get to the biggest, everything gets maximized, and a lot of players can deal with the pressure, can deal with a lot of things that need to happen when you're at this level, and that's what you see. But it's like I say, that's a tough question for me because you also want talent. Obviously you have talent and you have somebody that is intelligent and smart, and I think you can definitely go really far with them.
Yeah.
But if I have to pick one of the two, as I said earlier, I will probably go with an intelligent guy, just because I feel like even if he's not as talented, you might find more consistency with a guy like that, just because he probably might be able to understand a lot of the stuff that is happening, and probably he's gonna know more of himself, like okay, what makes him good, and then hopefully to become great, he'll probably might have an idea how to get there if you guide him, the right way. I guess that's what.
Hey man, age-old debate. I just want to hear what you had to say. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so this for me, I'm interested to hear your thoughts here. So, obviously, you come from a Latin country, a Spanish-speaking country, right? We're playing, baseball in the major leagues, and there's a lion's share portion of players that are Spanish speakers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we know about the cultural differences, between a player maybe who grew up in, Panama, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Mexico, versus an individual who grew up here in the United States. And you being a player, a former player, you being a coach now at the highest level, what would you say is the biggest thing to keep in mind when coaching, right, a Latin player, right? What things are very important to keep at the forefront as far as good and bad? So when I say good and bad, the things that you have to do and the things that you cannot do, just based on the cultural differences.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely a question that can cover a lot of different areas. But when you're dealing with Latin kids, one thing that obviously it's my first year in the big leagues here, so dealt with Latin kids all my life. And when it comes to not only me, because I'm from Latin America, but also like as a player and then coaching the minor leagues, being a coordinator, now seeing some of the guys at this level, the biggest thing is always first thing is just build your relationship. Be a relationship with the Latin kids. The difference with Latin kids and other players is that you got to show them that you care. And basically it's that you care every single day. What I mean by that is it's like stop by, say hi, talk to them every day. Don't just do it just one day and then the other days you don't feel like doing it, or just because you see them every day. They're Latin players, especially when they're young, they it's like they want that reassurance. They want to know that everything is okay with you as a coach, that you're not mad at them, that you're there for them. Once they feel that, they're gonna be more open to do anything that you ask them, because it's that trust factor. And that's what I've seen the difference with the Latin kids. And even what I remember myself, we always think about what for whatever reasons, I don't know if it's a culture that what other people are thinking, about yourself, especially when it comes to your coaches. They want to know what's going on. And that's when you're gonna make a lot of strides with them once they get that feeling. But I see it the other way, when coaches don't take the time to learn about them, learn their culture, where they come from, and understand them why they are the way they are. Because sometimes we are loud, and that's just because that's the way we kind of grew up, and it's okay. And when you come to the States, sometimes it's people look at you like, why are you screaming? It's not that we're screaming, we're just talking. That's just the way it is. But definitely, and as a coach, you have to take your extra time to go and get to know them, and them getting to know you, kind of how you are, and understand hey, no matter if I'm mad one day, whatever, it's just not necessarily I'm mad at you. It's just, this is just the way the game is. This is what what sometimes coaching is happens in coaching. So, but you definitely have to do the extra stuff with them.
That's good, man. That's a really good insight. That's a really good insight. If you're gonna create the perfect player, what is one trait that player has to have? If you're gonna create the perfect player, he has to have this.
The right mindset.
What do you mean by right mindset? What does that mean?
It's gotta have confidence. And willing to take risk, meaning that it's basically being able to work not on the comfort zone all the time, out of the comfort zone, being open. I know I just say a lot of stuff, but it's just to me, it's just confidence and being open-minded.
To being able to learn.
Yes.
What's the one thing that pisses you off, man?
Probably when you get guys that feel like they have everything figured out, and the more you see them and the more the stuff they say sometimes to you, that you have no clue what you're talking about. Not because they're trying to, it's just that a lot of times it's their personality, where they're like I got it, and then a lot of times the reason why it kind of it bothers me is because those guys like that, it takes longer for you to get through. Because they have a wall, don't come in because I know it. I know what I'm doing. And then they keep failing, and it just takes more time, and that's what bothers me. Because sometimes I'm you don't see what I'm seeing. You're having a tough year, and you're still stuck in your ways, because it's and the thing is, sometimes you ask them about why you keep doing these things, and they can't even explain it. And those sometimes they get to me, just because it's hard to work with them. Not that I don't like I give up on them or anything like that. It's just like once I get those guys, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a long term type of deal or project. And then it's like that's where you start thinking as a coach, okay, how can I get to that guy? And a lot of times it's like if I feel like I'm not there yet, I'll go to somebody else. Like, hey, here's what I'm trying to do here. Can you help me with that message? And try to hit him from different angles.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, sometimes I even use other players that I respect, that I know that they can help me, whatever is, and they guys I care, especially all the guys I respect those guys, and I'll be able to go to them and also like figure out how to help those guys. But those are tough. Those are tough. The ones that have that type of attitude and they think they got everything figured out. They get to me a little bit, but it's like because sometimes those guys they do stuff and they just do it, and sometimes it's like you're just doing it just because you just want to disagree. It's like there's no way in back of your head. Like you know that what was happening is not the right thing, and there's no way you continue to tell me like I'm good. Like I'm good. I'm like, no, you're not.
What no, that's good, man. And I agree. What would you say is the thing that you're most excited about, man? Like going forward, baseball in general, like trends that you're seeing in the game, right? Like what would you say you're most excited about at this point in baseball history?
That's a broad topic. I mean, to me, let me just go back to what we're doing here. I think that's for me that's most exciting thing for me, just because the culture that we've been able to establish here. And it's not like we're done. We still got ways to go, but we're very close to, I guess, where we want to get when it comes to the culture standpoint and getting players to kind of like do and understand what the final goal it is here, right? And that's what to me that's the most exciting thing, just working with the guys that I have around, like the coaches and even some of the players, like some of the older players that have been like so close-minded with the new era of doing things, like the information. That's exciting. Like it's like it's like when you're going to I've never been to war, so I don't know if this is gonna be the right example or not, but it's like knowing all the information that now you have available to go and do the things like for us, like go out on the field and kind of like, okay, we have a game plan, all these strategies, and I think that's like exciting just to see like the technology, what has done to the game, and how we are approaching a lot of things, and I think you're able to make adjustments like quicker just because of the information, the technology, the way things, it's not like that mentality was like, oh, that's just the way we always done it and that's it. Like that's changing, and that's exciting because I do have a little bit of a old school in me, and that's what I kind of like the era that I came through, but at the same time it's like you kind of realize it's okay, I can't continue to have with this mentality and because it's just I'm going to be out of the game quick. It's just the way that everything is trending, with information technology and how can you assess, players nowadays and to kind of like help them realize like, hey, this is who you are, this is what you can do, and here's how we're going to do it. And that's exciting, I guess.
That's cool. That's cool. Hey, so as we get ready to close, a lot of times what happens in our lives, we have these crossroads, right? Where we are forced to, because of a situation, because of a circumstance, because of a decision, either that was self-inflicted or life gave to us. We have it changes the trajectory of our lives, right? And so my next question to you is, in terms of your life, Julio, right? Has there been a point in your life, a difficult point in your life, in which you said, you know what, when I went through this moment, or when I navigated through these moments, it directly impacted the man I am today? As you go back into your memory bank, was there any of those instances that you said, you know what, man, when I went through these moments, man, they were tough, but I'm glad I went through them because it made me who I am today?
I guess there was a lot of different things that happened when I was young in my career that kind of made me, probably the person I am. And there's like different people also have something to do with it. But if I have to like pick one thing, it's probably it'll be just looking at my parents, my family, how hard they work to provide and give me everything, the chances that I had to like become who I was back then, who I am now, and just see them that it was that relentless effort of them just trying to give my sister and I the best, and see them how there were times that were like tough, like struggles. Like I told you, we're not back home. We're not rich. They have to work, and there were times like they lost their jobs, and it was rough, and it's just seeing that how they went through it, and you always like for me it's like, okay, I don't. The way I was looking at it is like, I don't want that to happen to me. Like what can I do for that not to happen to me? And not because I was like ashamed or anything like that with my family. It was just like I don't want to go through that struggle because I didn't have that desire, or that like there's an opportunity, I want to take it. Like for example, like looking at my dad when he didn't learn English because he was older. It's like it was hard for him, and he tried. And I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen. And it's funny because when I came to the States for the first time, that was my biggest thing. Like I knew how to like write and read because as I went to a school that we took English classes every day, but then when I started like try to speak, it was tough. And then try to get on an argument with somebody. Yeah, you always got to use a translator, and the translator you kind of figure it out later.
It ain't fast enough. The translator ain't fast enough.
And not only that, it's like they never say what you're actually saying. Like they just can't feel it. And he was frustrated. So that was and I guess that's what, going back to your question, it's like that's how I saw like things like what I saw my parents go through when I was growing up. And he was like kind of like making me strong, like if they're doing it, I know I can do this, I can do that. I also went through a lot of different like injuries when I was playing, kind of like make me like see things a little bit different. Gives you a different perspective. Obviously, getting married and having kids, that's definitely made a huge impact. And the fact that when I came over here, I was here by myself. I think that was probably, I would say, one of the biggest ones. So I came over here when I was 18 years old, 17, 18. I had no clue about anything. My first time out of the house. Latin people, like our moms and dad, they do everything for us because we're close, and it's like, I came over here, I have no idea how to cook, how to do anything, and then here I am trying to survive over here, and with the salaries that we get in minor leagues at that time, and I guess he made me grow up faster. Yeah, I know I said a lot of stuff.
No, that's good, man. That's good, man.
This is one of those questions that is just like, there's a lot of different things, but
that's good, man. No, that's really good. It's really impactful. What we learn, watching our parents. What I'm saying, growing up. I mean, I have a similar, story. My parents, coming from a different country as well, and so I really respect that, and thank God for moms and dads. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Who want to, like, as you alluded to earlier, who want to, create a better living, working environment, for their children, and look at you now. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, so this is the last thing. I'm gonna get you out of here on this. Get you out of here on this, man. So you're in a room full of a bunch of aspiring young professionals, right? What's the one thing that's on your heart right now that you would share with them? They want to be successful like you. They want to learn English. They want to climb, in their career. They want to achieve success, and they say, Julio, we want you to speak to this group of people. What's the one thing that you're sharing with them at that meeting?
I guess the one thing that I always say is that don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. I mean, I think everything is possible in this life. There's a lot of stuff that you have no control over, but the things that you can control, just make sure that you maximize that and take those opportunities. That's kind of how I see it. And obviously, you work hard, and people always talk about it. You gotta work smart as well. But I think one of the things that can drive you, and it drove me because that happens to me a lot, is when people say you can't do something. Yeah. I got people say like you can't, you won't make it to the big leagues because you haven't coached. Well, guess what? Here I am. And
you're still doing it.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what, and you see that a lot. And I don't know why, but you see it like in different sports, and even at like work. And when I talk to my family and my wife, you see it like people always like, you can't do that because you don't have this. Don't ever let anybody tell you that.
That's good, man.
You go ahead and you have something that you want to accomplish. Just make sure that you give your best every single day until you get to it.
Hey, and you're living, breathing proof of that, man. So, hey, man, once again, thank you, Julio, for coming through, brother.
No, thank you, Josiah. That was awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, man, do the honors, brother, right here, bro. Perfect.